Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss the poem The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. It's a romantic poem and we'll begin. Imagine you're walking through the Scottish Highlands. No one else around, just open fields, hills and a beautiful scenery and silence. And then a voice, a single voice, as someone is singing. You hear someone singing. You can't make out the words. You don't even understand the language, but something about you stops. Something about it stops you completely. You stand still. You listen. You don't want it to end. William Wordsworth had that exact experience, and it turned it into one of the most celebrated lyric poems in English language. Today we are going to break it down simply and fully. And portrait of William Wordsworth, a Lake District landscape behind him. William Wordsworth was born in 1770 in Lake District, England. Along with the Samuel Taylor Coleridge, he is the founding figure of the English Romanticism, a literary movement that celebrated nature, emotion, and individual imagination and ordinary human experience. In 1807, Wordsworth published poems in 2 volumes, which contained The Solitary Reaper. The poem was inspired by a note from his friend Thomas Wilkinson, who had described seeing a Highland girl singing alone as she harvested grain. Wordsworth never heard the girl himself. He imagined the experience, and that act of imagination is part of what the poem is actually about. Here's the poem's central idea in one sentence. A single mysterious song heard in passing leaves a mark on the mind that outlasts the moment itself. The poem is not really about the girl, it's about what happens inside the speaker when he hears her. It's about beauty, mystery, memory, and how a fleeting experience can stay with you forever. Let's read the whole. Let's read stanza by stanza, and then go through go through an examination of each stanza. So, in stanza 1, Wordsworth opens with a direct command, "Behold her." He is not describing a scene calmly. He is pointing urgently, drawing us in. Look, listen. We learn immediately that she is alone. She is working, reaping, and binding grain, and she is singing. The song is described as a melancholy strain, sorrowful, haunting, and the valley overflows with the sound. The image is striking. One voice fills the entire landscape. The instruction, "stop here" or "gently pass," is interesting. The speaker tells us, if this moves you, stop. If not, move quietly. Either way, respect the moment. And then we go on to the stanza 2 with the comparisons he makes with the song. Now Wordsworth reaches for comparisons to describe how beautiful this song is. He compares the girl's voice to two famous birds, first a nightingale and second a cuckoo. A nightingale singing to weary travelers in Arabian desert. The nightingale is a classical symbol of beautiful, sorrowful song in English poetry. And a cuckoo calling across the remote Hebrides islands in spring, its sound breaking the silence of the sea. Both images are about one voice carrying across a vast, empty, and slightly lonely or exotic landscape. Both emphasize distance and solitude. But notice, Wordsworth says the girl's voice is more thrilling than either. He suppresses the most celebrated songbirds of the natural world and says that the girl's song trumps everything. In stanza 3, here the poem shifts. The speaker admits he cannot understand the words. Will no one tell me what she sings? Is his question. This is a crucial moment. He doesn't know the language. She may be singing in Scottish Gaelic. So he guesses. He offers three possibilities. Maybe she's singing about old, unhappy, far off things and battles long ago, ancient griefs, historical loss, or maybe something more everyday, familiar matter of today, ordinary life and its small sorrows, or perhaps universal human pain, some natural sorrow, loss, or pain that has been and may be again. He never finds out, and that's the point. Mystery deepens the beauty, not knowing makes it more powerful, not less. And then on stanza 4, it's about the memory. The final stanza brings the emotional resolution. The speaker watches her work, bent over her sickle, while he stands motionless and still. He is frozen by the experience, and then he has to leave. He walks up the hill, the song fades, but he doesn't say the song ended. He says, the music in my voice she carried long after it was heard no more. The song is over, but the experience of it continues inside him. The memory carries the music forward even in silence. This is the poem's heart. Beauty doesn't need to last forever to matter. The moment was enough. Let's go into the three themes to hold on to. First is beauty in ordinary life. The girl is not a queen or a goddess or someone very important or anything like that. She's just a farm worker doing manual work alone. Yet her song fills a valley and moves a traveler to stop in his tracks. Wordsworth is making a romantic argument. Beauty lives in everyday, humble human experience, not only in grand and noble things. The mystery that deepens beauty. The speaker never understands the words. Wordsworth deliberately keeps the song's meaning out of reach. This is intentional. Mystery is not a flaw, it is part of what it makes the experience profound. If he knew what she was singing, it might feel smaller. Not knowing lets the imagination stretch. Memory as the keeper of experience. The poem ends not with the song, but with its echo in the mind. This is a distinctly romantic idea. The imagination and memory do not merely record experience, they transform it. Carry it, keep it alive. The inner world is as real, perhaps more real than our outer world. A few technical points. The form, when it comes to the form, has four stanzas of 8 lines each. The rhyme scheme would be A B A B C C D D. This is the rhyme scheme that is followed throughout, and regular and song like. It's like a lyric poem mirroring the musical quality of the subject. So, broadly, iambic tetrameter is used, 4 beats per line, giving a steady walking rhythm. It feels like a gentle march, fitting for a traveler on a hillside. And then apostrophe is one of the. Now, let us look at the key literary devices that are used. Apostrophe is used. The speaker addresses that girl directly, behold her, even though she doesn't know he is there. And then similes are used, comparing her voice to a nightingale and a cuckoo. That's where similes are used. And then imagery, the valley overflowing with sound, the sickle, the hill, the vast landscape against the single solitary human figure. The title's key word, the solitary reaper, the word solitary is highlighted. The word appears in the title and the first stanza. Solitude in romantic poetry is not just loneliness, not just being by yourself, but it is the condition in which the deepest experiences happen between one person and nature, between one's voice and the world. So, Wordsworth and Romanticism, we need to speak a little bit about how it's a romantic poem. To fully appreciate the poem, it helps to understand what Wordsworth are trying to do as a romantic poet. In the preface to Lyrical Ballads, his famous manifesto written with Coleridge, Wordsworth argued that poetry should deal with ordinary people and everyday language, not mythological heroes, not aristocratic courts, a girl reaping grain, a farmer, a beggar on the road. He also argued that poetry begins with emotion recollected in tranquility. You feel something deeply, let it settle, then write about it, write about what remains. The solitary reaper is almost a demonstration of this theory. The speaker experiences the song, carries the memory up the hill, and the poem itself is that recollection, a mountaintop experience, and it is an ascent uh, into the mountain, okay, onto the mountain. It is that kind of an experience that he goes through. So, the poem in one line, we could say that it's about a traveler. Hears a lone Highland girl singing as she works, and is so moved that the music stays with him long after he's walked away. And then the key terms that you need to remember when reading this poem or studying for it is romanticism, a literary movement valuing nature, emotion, and individual imagination. Apostrophe, and addressing someone not present or not listening. And lyric poem, a short personal poem expressing emotion. Iambic tetrameter, a four beat rhythmic pattern. Emotion recollected in tranquility. Wordsworth's definition of how poetry is created. Stop here or gently pass. These are the few key quotes that we can remember. Stop here or gently pass is one, signifying the reverence for the moment or the experience. Old and happy far off things and battles long ago, the mystery of the song, the speculations that he makes about the song. And then, long after it was heard no more, memory outlasting the moment. So, these are a few questions that you could keep in mind when reading this poem. How does Wordsworth use mystery and the unknown to enhance the beauty of the song in the Solitary Reaper? What does the poem suggest about the relationship between ordinary human experience and poetic inspiration? How does the structure of the poem, from observation to memory, reflect Wordsworth's theory of emotion recollected in tranquility? What role does solitude play in the poem for both the reaper and the speaker? Wordsworth walked up that hill. The song faded. He never heard it again, but he wrote it down. And 2000 years later, 200 years later, I'm sorry, we are still listening. That's what the Solitary Reaper is really about. The way of a single beautiful moment, fully felt, can echo through a lifetime, through a poem, through centuries, long after it was heard no more, still heard right now. I hope that helps you to understand this poem and study it. Until next time, farewell, students.